It's 4 o'clock. The top stories live on 7 News. Community anger explodes in Alice Springs. Locals demanding justice for the death of a 5-year-old girl. New fuel shipments secured as the Foreign Minister eyes off a partnership with Donald Trump. A school fun day becomes anything but. Students rescued after becoming stuck on a ride. Raiders coach Ricky Stewart rallies behind Melbourne's Craig Bellamy following his shock diagnosis. The Prime Minister and Premier join forces to talk all things Western Sydney, and to see a blue, the record-breaking parade of new police officers graduating today.
Live from Sydney, this is 7 News with Sally Bowrey.
Good afternoon. Tensions have erupted into violent riots in Alice Springs after the arrest of accused child killer Jefferson Lewis. The murder suspect was brutally beaten by locals before police intervened. And a warning for our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander viewers, this report contains images of the deceased person. Let's go live to Sam Payne, who is in Alice Springs. Sam, authorities have called for calm.
Yeah, good afternoon, Sally. They have called for calm, especially what occurred here at Alice Springs Hospital last night. Now, I want to give the viewers an understanding before we show the vision. Behind this Alice Springs Hospital scene, that had more than 20 police officers standing there. They had non-lethal beanbag shotguns firing rounds into the crowd, as well as firing tear gas. Now, we understand there was a group of 400 people outside demanding that Jefferson Lewis, the 47-year-old accused killer who was inside, to come out. They were screaming at police. They torched a police vehicle. They damaged multiple ambulances before they finally were able to disperse the crowds. Nearby businesses were looted as well. They finally were able to leave, and then it's understood Jefferson Lewis, who was actually beaten, as you mentioned earlier, he was found in a nearby town camp by police. They got him out of there, brought him here. He was then transferred late last night to Darwin. He's now in police custody, expected to be charged. The police commissioner is now calling for calm. Take a listen.
The behaviour that we saw last night cannot be explained away, excused or accepted.
We certainly understand people's anger and frustration, but we want the community to come together.
So at this point in time, there's a heavier police presence than usual. Bottle shops have been closed for the evening. Sporting events have been cancelled. It's understood there's a memorial this afternoon at 5:30 p.m. to pay respects to that little girl as the whole community comes together to mourn her life. Sally?
OK, thank you very much. Sam Payne there in Alice Springs. Australia's in talks with the United States to assist in a mission to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Let's go live to our national security editor, Tim Lester, in Canberra this afternoon. Hello to you, Tim. What is Washington asking for?
Hello, Sally. Well, again, Washington, after 2 months of fighting in the Iran war, is asking allies to help it secure the most contested waterway, at least for the passage of oil on Earth, the Strait of Hormuz.
Its closure has disproportionately affected our region.
Foreign Affairs Minister Penny Wong in South Korea questioned on whether Australia was among allies involved in a new US-led initiative to protect shipping companies in the strait after the war, reopening the choke point for 20% of global oil supplies.
Australia has been involved in diplomatic efforts to reopen the strait. We are working with all of our partners, the United Kingdom, France and also the United States.
We'll have those discussions privately. We'll engage in anything that can assist.
But the US plan, like an effort before it led by Britain and France, relies first on an end to hostilities with Iran. Until then, it's about planning and waiting.
I think we will join it. If we do, I think that we are likely to send naval planners, potentially a maritime patrol aircraft, although I know we already do have an airborne early warning aircraft in the region.
And the Prime Minister has also confirmed more government-backed purchases of fuel on the spot market. In this case, it's 100 million litres of jet fuel, the first jet fuel purchases to be done under the plan. The PM says we can expect to see those in Australia late this month or early June. Sally.
All right, thank you very much. Tim Lester there in Canberra this afternoon. A former Liberal MP on the Northern Beaches accused of child rape will front a trial in the state's Supreme Court. Rory Amon has pleaded not guilty to 2 charges after being cleared of 8 others in March.
Well, this long legal battle facing former MP Rory Amon is set to be dragged out even further, with confirmation this morning that Crown prosecutors are pursuing a second trial over allegations he sexually assaulted a teenage boy. This morning, Amon was arraigned here in the Supreme Court on 1 count of sexual intercourse and another of committing an act of indecency upon a 13-year-old. He's pleaded not guilty to both.
Mr. Amon, how do you feel about facing a second trial?
It was only in March that the former New South Wales Liberal MP was cleared by a jury of 8 other charges surrounding the incident alleged to have occurred back in 2017, but the jury failed to reach a decision on the remaining 2 charges.
Do you think the jury got it right?
Those will now go to a second trial set to take place here in November.
World oil prices have hit a 4-year high because of the US and Israel's war on Iran. It reached $126 per barrel overnight, following President Donald Trump's comments that the conflict could go on for months. However, the American leader maintains oil prices will go down quickly once the war ends.
The gas will go down. As soon as the war's over, it'll drop like a rock. There's so much of it. It's all over the place, sitting all over the oceans of the world. And it'll go down.
Trump also says he will probably pull US troops out of Spain and Italy because of their lack of support for the war. Meanwhile, King Charles and Queen Camilla appear to have won over the US president during their historic state visit to America. The royal couple spent their final day in Virginia before flying off to Bermuda. US correspondent Miley Hogan reports.
Well, until next time, King Charles and Queen Camilla have officially left the United States. They spent their final day of their 4-day trip, again starting on a more sombre note. King Charles and Queen Camilla paying their respects to US service members at the Arlington National Cemetery. Then they had the opportunity to spend some time with everyday Americans in Virginia. They attended a block party, taking part in a potluck. Now, for those who don't know, that's an American tradition where you invite your friends and neighbours over and everybody brings a dish and you can sit together and share a meal. King Charles, who has a long history of environmental activism, also took some time to visit a national park where he met Buddy, the bald eagle. Their Majesties also returned to the White House to bid farewell to their hosts, the US President, giving this review of the trip.
It's a great king.
What would you rate his visit?
The greatest king in my book.
The official reason for the royal trip was to mark the 250th anniversary of America declaring independence from British rule, but it was also designed to mend the relationship that's been lately strained by the UK's refusal to join the United States' war against Iran. Now, the Royal Charm Offensive appears to have worked. President Trump was very impressed by King Charles and Queen Camilla, but there are questions about how long that can last. The US president is known for being unpredictable.
Angelique Opie joins us now with a bit of a check on the weather. Hello to you, Angel. It was an overcast start, but it's cleared to a glorious afternoon, hasn't it?
Sal, yeah, really lovely to see that burst of sunshine arriving as the weather warmed up. But low-lying cloud developed over the city early, only rain bearing north of the CBD on the central coast with light rainfall around Coolawong. Onshore winds may deliver a drizzle this evening. Heavier falls on the far north coast today with a persistent easterly airstream. Dry elsewhere, 23 in Bellamy and at Bathurst. Temperatures in the mid-20s up north. Similar to the top temperatures in the city and west today, 25 degrees. This weekend we could see some scattered showers, sunshine at times as well. All the details in the full forecast later on.
All right, see you then. Thanks, Angel. Still to come in Sydney's afternoon news on 7, a Blacktown murder investigation ramps up. Police storming a home in Sydney's outskirts. An Australian woman goes missing while hiking in Canada. A wake-up call for pop icon Britney Spears. Why a former Queensland Premier's boyfriend had his house raided overnight, and the Prime Minister visits the new Western Sydney Airport. Homicide detectives investigating the alleged murder of a man in Blacktown last year have raided a property in Sydney's southwest. Officers stormed a Wedderburn home yesterday, finding an allegedly stolen Mercedes and cloned licence plates. Detectives believe the items are linked to the broad daylight shooting of Mal Sevi last November. 2 men have been charged over the killing and remain before the courts. A man is lucky to be alive after crashing his car into a pole in Sydney's southwest. The sheer impact snapped the pole at the base, bringing down power lines in Campsie overnight. The 31-year-old man was arrested and allegedly tested 3 times above the alcohol limit. He's been charged with high-range drink driving and will face court at a later date. An extra $70 million will be poured into housing projects across the state in a bid to build homes faster. The Prime Minister made the pledge while sharing his vision for Western Sydney's future ahead of the opening of the city's new airport. Chris Marr has the details.
Well, here at the soon-to-be-opened Western Sydney Airport, the Prime Minister has announced a funding boost to speed up new housing and other development in the region. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese was in Sydney's West today for a conference dealing with major issues confronting its population. Hosted inside the new terminal of the Western Sydney Airport, opening to passengers later this year. To boost housing construction, the Prime Minister announcing a $70 million grant to the state government to cut through red tape.
These are incentives to get vital new housing projects through planning and into construction.
But the conference was warned with the airport opening, Sydney's West is in desperate need of extra hotel rooms. Development plans, it said, being held up in slow approval processes.
Let's lower the threshold, let's fast-track the applications and let's get keys in hotel rooms.
The New South Wales Premier was quizzed about the airport's metro rail link, was unable to confirm when it will actually open, and the airport's operators say they've been encouraged by their partner airlines about early ticket sales ahead of the first flights later this year.
Concerns are growing for an Australian woman who's gone missing whilst visiting a popular national park in Canada's east. 62-year-old Denise Ann Williams is believed to have gone hiking on Cape Breton Island and has not been seen since April 15th. A multi-agency search effort is now underway. US federal prosecutors have released new footage of the moment an armed man attempts to storm the White House Correspondents' Dinner in Washington, D.C. Video shows the alleged gunman sprinting through the security checkpoint, appearing to shoot at a guard before being taken down. California man Cole Thomas Allen has been charged and is accused of attempting to assassinate the US president. British police have warned a terrorist attack is highly likely as the threat level across the UK is raised to severe. It follows the stabbing attack on 2 Jewish men at Golders Green in North London. Prime Minister Keir Starmer was heckled as he visited the local community, meeting first responders. He later promised more policing for Jewish communities.
This government will do everything in our power to stamp this hatred out.
The Somali-born suspect had only recently been released from a mental health facility. Pop star Britney Spears is now being charged with driving under the influence of alcohol and drugs. The 44-year-old pop star was arrested in March after she allegedly was seen driving erratically at high speed on a highway near her home. The singer was released on bail and has since checked herself into a rehabilitation facility. Still ahead on 7's Afternoon News, officially under new ownership, Sydney's top radio station's message to listeners. Plus, our police force bolstered. See the record-breaking graduation ceremony. In sport with Matt White, the West Tigers bounce back from their Luai loss with a huge double re-signing. And an Aussie star's rejected in an NBA playoffs nightmare. That is next.
How to turn $250 a month into $500,000 and secure your future.
You have more options than you think.
Why it's never too late to invest. Expert advice, whatever your age. On 7 News Live at 6.
Hello, in 7 News at 6, fears more violence will explode in Alice Springs, where they're live. The operation to free kids stuck on a Kemps Creek ride. Making up for lost time, expert advice on how to invest at any age. A trainee bus driver's very bad day in Paris, and how to get your hands on a rare slice of Sydney pop culture. 7 News at 6.
It's time for sport now with Matt White and Matt. The West Tigers have moved quickly after losing Jerome Luai to PNG.
Yeah, and you've got to, because the raids are coming, Sal. In the face of another possible raid from the Chiefs, the Tigers today locked down brothers Terrell and Taylor May for another 3 years. The Samoan internationals are now signed until the end of 2030. Meanwhile, Panthers coach Ivan Cleary has played down fears his side could be targeted by Papua New Guinea. 9 of the Panthers' top-line players, including Nathan Cleary, Brian To'o and Isaiah Yeo, are without deals beyond 2027, but Cleary isn't worried.
We're comfortable with what we've built here at Panthers. We've lost players that we've wanted to keep for many, many years. Just part of what happens when you're successful.
The Panthers face Manly on Sunday night. 21-year-old halfback Jesse Southwell was ice cool in Newcastle last night, leading New South Wales to victory over Queensland in the Women's State of Origin opener. Tied at 6-all, Southwell nailed a late field goal to put the Blues ahead after having an earlier attempt charged down.
The fact that she did that after the first time, it's just testament to who she is. She's got a really strong, positive mindset as a young half, which we obviously need.
Jessica Surgis scored on the siren to seal an 11-6 win. The Maroons lost Mackenzie Wheel and Keely Joseph after both suffered head knocks. Game 2 is less than a fortnight away in Brisbane. It will be a battle of the best ruckmen on Sunday when the Swans host the Demons. Brodie Grundy will celebrate game 250 when he runs out at the SCG to face his old side. And what better way to mark his milestone than a reunion with Melbourne heavyweight Max Gawn.
These two have been at the top of their game for a long period of time. It's a really exciting battle. They deserve to be spoken about, and they have a big say in what the team does.
And another battle between former teammates will rear its head on the Gold Coast on Sunday, with the Giants' Clayton Oliver facing his former Melbourne teammate Christian Petrarca.
Yeah, he's one we're going to have to neutralise, and they'll certainly have to worry about clarity around stoppage, so it should be a good battle.
Both games are, of course, live and free right here on 7. Cricket, it was a night to forget for Josh Hazlewood in the Indian Premier League. Defending only 155, Hazlewood's Royal Challengers felt the full force of the Gujarat Titans.
He's gone after him with everything here. Shubman Gill majestically puts Hazlewood for 6.
The Aussie leaked 24 runs in a single over, tonked by Indian Test skipper Shubman Gill. He finished with none for 56, the second worst figures of his T20 career. The Royal Challengers were beaten by 4 wickets. Oscar Piastri is ready to ignite his World Championship quest when the Formula One season resumes this weekend in Miami. Drivers are back after a month-long layoff, with 2 rounds cancelled due to the Middle East conflict. Piastri is keen to build on his second-place finish in Japan.
The motivation and the confidence in the team at the moment is high. I think we're on a good trajectory again.
Kimi Antonelli holds a 9-point championship lead over Mercedes teammate George Russell. And Dyson Daniels' Atlanta Hawks have crashed out of the NBA playoffs as the Aussie triggered a brawl against the New York Knicks this morning.
And Robinson and Dixon just being held up. Brent Barnaky gets knocked down. Robinson wants to go at somebody.
Teammates and coaches finally put an end to the scuffle. You're brave getting in the middle of that one. Daniels and Knicks centre Mitchell Robinson ejected from Game 6. New York cruised to a thumping 51-point win, sealing a 4-2 series victory to send the Hawks and Daniels packing. Sal, when you just go down swinging, I think that was the theory.
That looks like just Tuesday night at my house with the kids.
I'm not getting in the middle of that. No way.
No, smart. Right. You are wise. Thanks,
yes.
Matt. The top stories are next on Sydney's Afternoon News on 7, including violent riots in Alice Springs, unpacking the moments leading up to the unrest. An outpouring of support for Storm coach Craig Bellamy amid his shock health battle. And your first look at the world-class museum opening in Parramatta.
Welcome to Weekend Sunrise. We're packing in all the essentials.
Entertainment.
We've got it. Have some fun.
With just a little bit of danger. You know, we've got each other, so that's the main thing, right?
Start your weekend
with Weekend Sunrise.
Live from Sydney, this is 7 News with Sally Bowrey.
Welcome back. These are our top stories on 7. The alleged killer of an Alice Springs girl has been arrested after he was found badly beaten, sparking violent clashes between police and locals. Australia's secured new fuel shipments while federal politicians consider helping the US with the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. Former Liberal MP for Pittwater, Rory Amon, will go to trial over child rape accusations. King Charles and Queen Camilla have hit it off with Donald Trump on their final day in the US, and the West Tigers bounce back from their Luai loss, signing the May brothers for another 3 years. Returning now to our top story, police are yet to lay charges over the death of a little 5-year-old girl found dead in Alice Springs. Her suspected killer was badly beaten by locals before police intervened. And a warning for our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander viewers, this report contains images of the deceased person. Chief reporter Chris Reason joins us now on the desk this afternoon. Chris, the alleged killer is certainly lucky to be alive.
Yes, Sally, when 47-year-old Jefferson Lewis returned to the scene, it wouldn't be inaccurate to say that a lynch mob quickly formed. In the words of the Police Commissioner Martin Dole, they wanted to inflict vigilante justice, traditional payback. Now, you've seen the pictures, violence exploding on the streets of Alice Springs yet again. Mr Dole saying he understood the anger and emotion. It's probably being shared by many across the country today. Questions first on Lewis's parole conditions, whether he was being watched and monitored properly. He was released from prison just 6 days before the alleged abduction. A violent criminal over the last decade, he'd served 4 separate prison sentences, all for aggrieved assault. 2016, 2018, 2022 and again in 2024. When he was released, he'd reportedly been told to go to the larger Manu, a dry community where he has family. Instead, he went 800 kilometres southeast to the old-timers town camp outside Alice Springs, where Saturday drinking is allowed. It was there he allegedly snatched 5-year-old Kumanji little baby. Questions too on the conditions she was living in. Her grandfather showing media through her home. The town camps have for so long been the subject of criticism and concern, a national disgrace, say people like Senator Jacinta Nampijinpa-Price. She knows that camp well. Her niece was stabbed to death there. Now, she's calling for an inquiry into governance, safety and funding. But critics say there have already been so many inquiries and there is already so much funding. More than $6 billion to Indigenous programs every year. Critics not sure how much of that found its way to Kumanji, little baby. Sal.
Indeed. All right, thanks for that, Chris Reason there. To other news now, and a major emergency response has unfolded in Sydney's west this afternoon after a carnival ride broke down mid-air. School students were stuck for over an hour before they were finally rescued. Andrew Denny has more.
Yes, a very lucky escape for 16 school children who found themselves stuck on a carnival ride here this afternoon. Rescue crews were called to Emmaus Catholic College here at Kemps Creek just after 12:30 when the ride somehow malfunctioned, with one side dropping and the other stuck 4 metres up, trapping those on board for around 2 hours as firefighters used a ladder platform to get them off safely. Paramedics were also on hand, checking each child over as they brought them down from the ride. Fortunately, there weren't any injuries.
As you could expect, a lot of them were quite afraid of being suspended in the air where they were. It's a very lucky outcome. Fortunately, everyone's okay.
Now, this ride was one of a number operating at this fete, marking Emmaus Day, a school celebration. The question now, of course, what went wrong and why? The ride has been seized by local police, put into quarantine, awaiting Safe Work New South Wales to begin an investigation.
The NRL community is in shock after Melbourne Storm coach Craig Bellamy revealed he's suffering a neurodegenerative disorder. What the condition is, he's yet to say, but as Kieran Tui reports, he'll continue coaching for now.
Tonight's clash between the Dolphins and the Storm here at Suncorp Stadium will be played under the cloud of worrying news. Melbourne Storm coach Craig Bellamy has shocked the league community, revealing he's being diagnosed with a neurodegenerative disorder. What the condition is exactly, the 66-year-old isn't saying, but the club has confirmed he's undergone a series of medical tests in recent weeks, and specialists have cleared him to continue coaching in the short term. He took part in the team walk in Brisbane this morning, but is yet to speak publicly about his health problem. In a statement, Storm chairman Matt Tripp said, Craig has the full support of the board, players, coaches and staff to continue leading the club as he has done for the last 24 seasons. Support too from former protege and now rival Michael Maguire.
Craig and I have had some great times together and obviously care about the people that you've been a part of throughout your career and things like that, but knowing Craig, I know he'll be right. He's a fighter, so he'll get through this and keep coaching.
Just yesterday, Craig Bellamy's daughter posted family photos featuring her father on Instagram. For at least a few hours, Bellamy's mind may be taken off his health issues as the Storm look to break a 6-game losing streak.
The long-term partner of former Queensland Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk has been charged with rape. Dr Reza Adib presented himself to police on the Gold Coast today. Reporter Declan Milton is there.
Good afternoon. Well, just 24 hours after Dr Reza Adib's Bowrey beachfront apartment was raided by police, he presented himself here to Southport Police Station, arriving to be met by an awaiting press park. Reaction when his home got raided. You know what he's facing? Flanked by his lawyer, Dr Adib remained silent as he tried to run past reporters.
Why are you trying to run?
He was spoken to by detectives and swiftly charged with 3 counts of rape, 2 counts of deprivation of liberty and 1 count of sexual assault. He's accused of raping a woman in her 30s at his luxury Bowrey beachfront apartment 2 months ago. 7 News cameras were there yesterday as police declared it a crime scene, searching the home and seizing items for testing. Dr Adib is one of Brisbane's leading weight loss surgeons, as well as being the long-term boyfriend of former Queensland Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk. The pair met 5 years ago, and it's a topic she writes about in her new memoir, released just this week. Ms Palaszczuk's PR blitz for the politics of being me is now being overshadowed by the investigation of her partner. She's cancelled a number of radio appearances today, but still attended a promotional event at a Gold Coast library last night. Asked by a journalist in the audience about the investigation, Ms Palaszczuk said she didn't know about it before deciding not to take any further questions.
Will you still be showing your support towards him, considering the current police investigation?
Well, I'm not aware of any of that, so I can't comment. Thank you.
Dr Adib has been granted police bail to appear before the Southport Magistrates Court in a fortnight.
A man has faced court today charged over a shocking act of petrol theft. The 22-year-old was arrested at Goulburn Police Station late yesterday, accused of filling up multiple drums and jerry cans and making off with 915 litres of diesel last month. Sydney's talkback radio station 2GB has marked its first day under new ownership of publican Arthur Laundy. The station's now part of the new Tapped Media network, but Laundy's been quick to reassure listeners nothing will change.
You won't expect any changes at all. I'm not interested in changing it. If you buy something successful, why would you go in and change it?
The station will continue to play host to the same voices and shows. The state's police force got a major boost today. 349 probationary constables joining the ranks, the largest class of students to graduate in 13 years. Rex Quayle was at the special ceremony in Goulburn.
Well, behind me are the newest members of the New South Wales Police Force, graduating from the Goulburn, New South Wales Police Academy today. It's the largest graduating class in 13 years, with 349 new probationary constables sworn in. All the festivities were underway. These police officers threw their hats in the air, celebrating the start of a new life.
It was 39 and a bit years ago now that I did it myself, but it really hasn't changed. And that same sense of pride, the same sense of excitement sits with you every time I come down here. This is a wonderful profession. You can have 200 careers in one profession.
They begin the job on Monday and they'll be deployed across the entire state. For the next 12 months, they will complete on-the-job training and study by distance education. At the end of that 12 months, they officially graduate with an associate degree in policing practice and confirmed to the rank of constable. Also, as part of this year's graduating class, 49 probationary constables will be a cop in their hometown as part of a massive regional recruitment drive from the New South Wales Police.
I've been speaking to many of them. They're very excited, can't wait to get to their police stations and get working with New South Wales Police.
Some of these new police officers barely getting a time to say goodbye to their families as they start on Monday. You can catch the full wrap-up of the day's events on 7 News tonight at 6 p.m.
Well, as the cold nights start to grow and you start turning heaters on, firefighters have an urgent message, check your beeping smoke alarms. The campaign is being championed by Sue Medhurst, who nearly lost 3 foster kids when an electric blanket began to burn their room.
Threw the electric blanket out the backyard, which immediately caught on fire. Wow. So they could have been dead.
She wants a smoke alarm in every child's room, and if you've already got one, you can book an inspection today. Sailors aboard the HMAS Warramunga received a warm welcome after returning back home today. Over 190 sailors were greeted by teary family members at Woolloomooloo, reaching land after spending 3 months at sea. Crew were stationed in the Indo-Pacific for 14 weeks, where they conducted several training exercises with regional partners. Still ahead in Sydney's afternoon news on 7, new insights into postnatal depression, the largest study of its kind. Plus, Qantas slashes more flights, what that means for your holidays. And it's 21 in Manly. We'll have your full forecast soon.
How to turn $250 a month into $500,000 and secure your future.
You have more options than you think.
Why it's never too late to invest. Expert advice, whatever your age, on 7 News live at 6.
A major study led by the University of Queensland has found the likelihood of women developing major depressive disorder was highest in the first few weeks after childbirth. Data from over 2 million women across 90 countries found rates of depression fluctuated during pregnancy and peaked 2 weeks after giving birth.
Screening and early intervention for major depression amongst peripartum women and girls, especially amongst those women and girls approaching the end of that first 2 weeks after giving birth.
The data also highlighted a need for more specialty mental health care services. Construction of the state's most expensive cultural development project since the Sydney Opera House is complete. Today's 7 News was given a glimpse inside the breathtaking Powerhouse Parramatta ahead of its planned opening later this year. Nick Overall reports.
Well, an exact date that Powerhouse Parramatta will open is still yet to be confirmed, but construction of the project has now finished, and today we can take you inside as exhibits are prepared to be moved in.
The $915 million project has been under construction for 4 years. This is the culmination of 2.7 million hours of work from 4,000 workers.
We're currently working hard to create 5 major exhibitions that will open the museum, and they're all under development at the moment.
Once open, the museum is projected to draw in 2 million visitors every year. It comes after a number of controversies surrounding the project, including concerns of flood risk and impact on heritage.
I think some of those criticisms have really strengthened the project. They're better for that community debate.
To be a great destination, you need great experiences, and the Powerhouse is going to be one of those experiences that people will flock to.
With more than 18,000 square metres of exhibition space, it's set to be the largest museum in New South Wales. There are already plans for the display of historic objects from right across Australia and overseas.
The full tour of Sydney's biggest cultural development project since the Opera House in 7 News at 6.
Australian consumers have spoken. The nation's most trusted brands revealed in Reader's Digest's 27th annual survey. A Dettol took out the top spot, followed by Panadol. Toyota came in third and has been named the country's most trusted car brand every year since the survey began. Bunnings came in fourth as our most iconic brand, and CommBank secured itself as Bank of the Year. A check of finance now, and the ASX closed in the green today, up 64 points. Today's top movers were led by mining and critical mineral giants. The Aussie dollar is buying 72 US cents, 113 Japanese yen and $1.22 New Zealand. Sydney 6pm News is coming up with Michael Usher and Angie Azimus. Hello to you, Angie. What's on the program?
Hello, Sally. Well, tensions in Alice Spring at tipping point tonight. The community there is angry and there are fears the situation could erupt at any minute. Grief turning to outrage over the conditions that led to a 5-year-old girl's murder. We are there live at 6 with the developments. A shocking story unfolding in Queensland, where the boyfriend of former Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk is facing charges of sexual assault, what he's alleged to have done and her response. We have video from on board a ride that malfunctioned at Kemps Creek, leaving kids stuck for more than an hour. There's a treasure trove of pop culture gems that have been hiding in a Bellevue Hill home, and they're now up for grabs. Details on that sale. And the Rugby League, well, gathering around Craig Bellamy after his degenerative brain disorder diagnosis. Sally will have all of that and plenty more for you in Sydney's 7 News at 6 o'clock.
Okay, thanks, Ange. See you then. Well, Qantas and Jetstar are cutting more flights as fuel costs begin to hurt the airline's financial performance. As aviation editor Blake Johnson reports, flights to India and New Zealand are the latest to hit the chopping block.
The cost of fuel is biting airlines harder and for longer than most anticipated. Qantas will suspend its Sydney-Bengaluru service from August until late October. It's also reducing the number of flights to New Zealand on Qantas and Jetstar, trimming capacity across the Tasman until at least September. It had already announced a 5% cut in capacity to domestic flights. Well, that's being extended a few months into September. It was initially only until the end of June. But it's a different story on its long-haul operations, particularly to Europe, where demand remains strong. The airline will extend its seasonal service to Rome into October. That's a couple of extra months.
Long-haul flights bring in more revenue than domestic sectors generally. And on those long-haul sectors, we do see premium passengers uptake those business class and first class seats more.
At Qatar Airways, they've increased services to Sydney, Melbourne and Perth from today. They were 5 times a week, now 7. But the airline is shifting aircraft types around, so capacity is down on flights to Melbourne and Sydney, at least temporarily. One upside to this is the number of reward seats on Middle Eastern carriers is up for this time of year.
Emirates, some of the Middle Eastern carriers have got a lot of seats available. We wouldn't really expect to see any in shoulder or peak season.
Chinese airlines are also pulling flights from Australia and moving them onto European services to pick up the capacity left behind by Middle East carriers. But some European airlines are cutting capacity as well, so it's a real mess. Qantas says any increase in revenue from its very busy Europe flights is being eaten away by extraordinary fuel costs, which are likely to become even more pronounced as we head into a new financial year.
New marathon superstar Sebastian Sorway has returned to a welcome in his home nation of Kenya, worthy of his world record time. But despite being put on the same pedestal of some of humanity's greatest achievements, the 31-year-old says he did it to bring happiness to his country.
Slowly striding down the red carpet, slightly shy of his record-breaking 21km/h pace, New London Marathon champion Sebastian Sorway receives a hero's welcome in Nairobi.
Triumphantly back home. We are truly privileged to have lived in this moment.
In addition to his near $500,000 in prize money from his sub-2-hour athletic feat, the adoration of a nation, Kenya's president gifted him a further $86,000, a car, and one out-of-this-world comparison.
When Neil Armstrong set foot on the moon, an accomplishment once believed to be beyond human limits.
But unlike the astronaut or his now famous running shoes, Sorway's feet remained firmly on the ground.
What I achieved in London was on behalf of all of us, to uplift our country's name, keep it shining, and it is a happy moment for all of us.
Staying humble despite entering the history books. In London, Ben Downey, 7 News.
A dangerous mishap by a trainee driver has landed a bus in the River Seine in Paris. Officers report the vehicle collided with a parked car before plunging into the water. A major recovery response ensued with several rescue boats, a drone and helicopters deployed. 4 people aboard the bus had to be rescued. It's not known if they're injured. Well, Banksy has struck once again, leaving his mark in central London this time. His statue depicts a suited man, his face covered by a flag which is being held stiffly in his right hand, blindly walking off a platform. Now, the world-renowned street artist has confirmed on social media that the large sculpture installed at Waterloo Place is indeed his. Next in 7's Afternoon News, a Mexican bakery heist masterminded by a very cheeky thief. And Angelique Angelique. Opie is here with your latest forecast across Sydney and around the country.
Hello, in 7 News at 6, fears more violence will explode in Alice Springs, where they're live. The operation to free kids stuck on a Kemps Creek ride. Making up for lost time, expert advice on how to invest at any age. A trainee bus driver's very bad day in Paris, and how to get your hands on a rare slice of Sydney pop culture. 7 News at 6.
Angelique Opie joins us again now with a check on the forecast. Angel, any sunshine this weekend?
Sal, hello again. Sunday is the day with a few light falls possible tomorrow morning. 16 degrees is a lot warmer than what we'd usually see in May. Currently 21 degrees in the city under lovely blue skies. Picking up the satellite image now, a high pressure system has been a dominant feature of our weather for days, promoting dry and stable conditions. Any rain is a result of consistently flowing onshore winds prominent in northern parts of the state and in southern Queensland. Another low pressure system and cold front could see a drop in temperatures and some wet weather for inland parts of the state over the coming days. Looking around to the forecast across the country, 33 in Darwin, Brisbane, a high chance of showers 25, Canberra partly cloudy, a cool start before 22 degrees, warm for May in both Hobart and Melbourne, showers in Adelaide and 26 degrees, a cooler 19 in Perth. As for Sydney, partly cloudy conditions and a medium chance of showers in the morning, 15 degrees before a top of 25. Rain concentrated on the coast, just a slight shower possible in the west and some morning fog. Sunday looking more clear with some moderate northerly winds in the morning, 26 degrees in the west. Monday, a high chance of showers across the city, but heating up to 27. Tuesday to Friday, only a light drizzle possible. 21 degrees in the city on Friday, 20 in the west. And Sal, we will have more local weather details coming up in the news at 6 o'clock.
Thanks, Angel. See you then. And a Mexican bakery has had a bit of a shock intruder. Footage shows this wild monkey sneaking into the Mexico City store before making a clean getaway with some pastries. A few weeks prior, another monkey was caught making a sweet escape after stealing baked goods from a hotel, also in Mexico. And that's our 4 p.m. news for this Friday. Your next bulletin is 7 News at 6. I'm Sally Bowrey. Stay with 7 now for the Chase Australia. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.